Greetings. Zion once again, Charles King. Anyway, I'd like to thank all of you for coming out to my channel and bringing on more and more subscribers. It's gone up to around 90, 96 at this point right now, and I'm hoping that I can be able to bring more and more onto it because it looks like a couple of the things I've uploaded from before seems to have picked up some traffic and leeway. So, I'm here to continue with tonight. Now, I've always been an open-minded person, and I've always wanted to say that whenever someone comes up to me with an, how can I put this, an unbiased opinion, I'd always like to make sure that we can always find some common ground on something. One of the things I've also been discussing inside of my videos is this. I want you all to describe to me exactly where you think the media is going these days, because so far it appears like we've gone from capable storytelling to just pandering to whatever we see and we think that people are going to want to see. For example, right now, was anyone here a fan of the show called Static Shock? One of the things I always liked about the show is because it actually showed an interracial friendship inside of it. And basically speaking, right there, that was always one of the main things that made it so relatable right there. Because the fact is, it shows what it was like to really have a friend where you don't want to go by the traditional societal norms. You can just have fun, but you're not exactly going to try and segregate yourself because it's not something that's commonly seen back in that time period. It was still a relatively new idea. And what's more to the point is that it actually even showed an openly gay character inside the show. And while we didn't exactly see this person really pursuing any relationships, I am happy that at this point in history, we didn't always stick to this one simple thing that the character has to be somebody from a group where they think is marginalized, when in fact they're just a part of common day society. Why is it that we really think that people really want everybody to feel segregated like that? Now, I'm about to show one of my favorite clips from inside this show right here. In this episode, it talks about I think it's called, oh yeah, Sons of the Father. Basically, it's a representation on saying how Richie's father isn't exactly what Virgil always thought it was. You see, Richie always looked up to Virgil and his father based on the relationship they always had because I think somewhere deep down he himself wanted that kind of relationship with his own father, but he saw how he was. Not just to people around him, but he didn't think he could really open up to him. And that's why in this episode it shows the dangers on what can happen if a parent never really actually knows their own child.
Wow, all this stuff is off the hook, Rich.
But of course.
Man. And you said hanging at your crib would be a snore fest. So it's only 3 for dinner, huh?
Oh, what can I say? My dad's working.
On this clip, you can already feel the awkward tensionness inside the family. And from those glancing looks, it almost feels like maybe this isn't just an isolated incident, that maybe he's had several negative encounters with African Americans before.
Richie, I brought over the latest MC Rapwell CD. It is slamming.
Yeah, we'll crank it after dinner.
There will be no rap played in this house.
Sean, please.
Maggie, that music teaches kids to disrespect their parents.
Some rap is positive, Mr. Foley.
It's all garbage. It tells kids to write on walls, stay out past curfews, and heaven knows what else. It tears down everything guys like me built. Look around you, Dakota's gone to pot. Well, not in my house.
But Dad, that's not fair.
That's the last
First,
word,
it
Richie.
seemed like Virgil didn't really take it to heart. But as the story progressed, we finally start to realize what the major underlying truth is.
I'm so
We did
embarrassed.
not really see all of this coming based on how Richie always portrayed himself. And at first, Virgil wanted to squash the whole situation, saying his father's no different.
Time to get minty fresh.
But when he passes by Richie's father's bedroom and hears what he says, he knows the
Now I see
real
how Richie acts
reason
like a
what's
hood,
what all the
Maggie. That
hostility.
kid's a bad influence. All his kind are.
Keep your voice down.
It's bad enough I gotta deal with them all day long. Now one of them's in my house.
It's still early. I can go home without calling my pops for a ride.
Virgil, don't leave, please. We can talk to my mom.
What good is that gonna do, Rich? She can't change what he said. You were right all along. Hanging here was a bad idea. Sorry.
What's going on down there?
Well, you got what you wanted, Dad. My best friend's gone because of you and your stupid racism. I hate you!
Hey!
Now, the one thing in this episode that was never truly established was whether or not she was aware of her husband's racially biased behavior before or after she got married to him. But it didn't seem like she shared exactly the same point of view because she was trying to offer apologies to Virgil as well. So whether or not she was having issues with his racially biased behavior was never truly established. Maybe she had some friends that she had to cut out of her own life because of his behavior too. Now, in this episode, Batman is checking out something that is called Slappers. Basically, it's kind of like a new, refined version of Bane's original Venom formula. At first, it looks like his mom believes that he himself is also partaking into the product. But after he found out that one of his friends had been using it during one of their, I don't know what the name of the sport is, but it's kind of like one of the new futuristic sports inside there. And at first, it seems like he's able to cripple the production of these until he finds out who's the main mastermind behind these things. As it turns out, he's actually a caretaker of a now this how can I put this disgusting looking Bane after years and years of abuse. Basically a reference to what steroids to do if you use it too much. And at first Terry, when I see him inside this, I mean look at this thing. He throws his batarang at them and I'm pretty sure he crushed those guys to death. So now he ends up confronting the guy who's been selling this stuff. As it turns out, Bane needed this stuff to keep on just living because of years and years of abuse. So this guy began to use the formula to sell it out to kids to make profit. And now it looks like he's about to use it to take out Batman. It's time to take out the trash. Now, it looks like this guy's pretty much unstoppable at this point. No matter how hard Terry seems to try, it's like with the venom in his body, he's just pretty much become an unstoppable killing machine. But you can clearly see this guy's just using regular brute strength. That means he's not really having any combat training. Kind of like how it is when how can I put this? Sports players end up using these drugs, but they don't really have any practice. They just think that by enhancing their body's physical attributes, they're instantly going to become a star player on the team. And I think this guy is pretty much just losing it right here because he realizes no matter how hard he tries, he just can't seem to really take out this guy. You look at him, he's just throwing a regular pipe at him. And he goes over, climbs up on this machine that looks like an old-time printing press. Oh boy, this guy really has no idea what he's doing right here. Well, I know he's still basically in control. This is how it is when you're really pumped up on this stuff. You don't really know what you're doing, and the next thing you notice right now, something horrible happens. Come to the most prominent side effect of taking too much steroids, roid rage. When pretty much you feel a burst of pain, but then pretty much all your sanity is gone. And all you can think about is just keep on going more and more and more. Even when you're hurt, you're just going to keep on thinking, how am I going to win this? How am I going to progress? And the next thing you notice right now, you realize that you've completely lost all sense of rationality. And then the next thing you notice comes, boom, you're hurt.
Terry,
I'm okay.
what about Bane's friend?
It's the venom. I think he had too much of a bad thing.
You see, this is what I'm talking about. The fact of the matter is, we just pretty much saw someone die of a drug overdose on a kid's cartoon. How many cartoons you know are really going to have the balls to tackle something like that these days? See, this is what I'm talking about. This was actual good story writing. I mean, most people are terrified to even mention drugs. And while I don't exactly say that this is a real live drug, but this is actually some of the side effects that you can really see that. How many players now have we heard about and went on crazy roid rage filled benders, all because the fact is they didn't realize what they were doing. Countless times now people end up hurting themselves with these things and they don't even realize what they're doing to themselves until it's too late. The fact of the matter is, this was a time when there was decent entertainment that didn't try to dumb down what are the side effects. I mean, seriously, even though we heard him breathing slightly, we never see that guy again. I'm pretty sure he's stuck comatose or possibly even dead.
Some friends. It's a good thing the Justice Guild was around to save me.
They're not the Justice Guild.
Say what?
You heard me. They are not the Justice Guild.
How can you say that?
This is a serious accusation, young man. Explain yourself.
No, you explain this.
Justice Guild killed in battle.
Now, this is where things get a bit dicey in the episode. At first, Green Lantern didn't want to believe any of this because just like Ray in his world, even though they were fictitious characters, he saw them no differently as Ray did. They pretty much inspired him to want to join up with the army, and then eventually he got his Green Lantern ring. So basically speaking, he saw them no differently as Ray. But again, what they're seeing in front of them is all just one big illusion. And one could see this as a metaphor right now. Basically speaking, you know these are all just cartoon characters, you know, they're just comic book characters. But the fact is, you yourself can also find inspiration from them. But the fact is, this is what happens when some people start to lose their grip on reality. They start to see things from such an angle, they become obsessed with it. And then they start to strip away every single layer of themselves until basically they just lost everything that they were in their process. So that's what made this episode so brilliant, because it wasn't just a metaphor. It actually can shows what really happens when people become obsessed. Because when you see Ray's true form, you can actually see someone like this. You can look at him as kind of like even a junkie or one of those basement-dwelling losers who end up to spend their entire lives in the world of fiction and never really stepped out into the real world. Because that's essentially what Ray did. He locked himself away from the real world.
You ruined it! You ruined everything!
Now, by the end of the episode, the Justice Guild that were created by his imagination basically confront him and try to keep him from hurting the Justice League anymore, because at first it looked like they couldn't really defeat him because he looked too powerful. But trying to maintain the strain of the reality around him and also his creations was too much for him. Eventually, the Justice Guild actually managed to defeat him, knowing that defeating him would destroy everything around them, including themselves. The words were, they gave their lives once for this world, and they can do it again. And so, that's what they did.
Let justice prevail!
And as Ray lies there defeated, we see the cold reality, the truth on what this world had truly become. And the last thing that always makes me cry is as they accept their own reality and they say their goodbyes. I'll never forget that part right there. To this very day will always haunt me, because this is what happens when people who lock themselves away from reality have to face it. Have to realize that they destroyed their lives around them. And they have to accept the truth. I don't want to sound really too harsh with what I'm about to say, but another way I've also interpreted this is because it kind of reminds me of certain aspects of religion. Because a lot of times now, we often fear a lot of things. And we want to look for faith no matter where it comes from. Because, hey, religion takes on many forms these days, so I can't tell which one's which. But also, the next thing that also makes me think about is because this kind of reminds me of Rose from Full Metal Alchemist. She lost her fiance and she looked to, I don't remember his name is Father Corelli or something like that. All I know is that when she ended up having to face reality that he couldn't really actually bring him back, she ended up turning against everybody because she was wondering, where does she go from here? Where does she go now? That hope was all she had left to believe in. And when cruel reality had to be faced. All she could do was just meet it with hostility.
You should never have come here. Father Cornello gave us hope. What right did you have to take that away? With him, we believed we could do anything, even bring back the dead. We're a desert village. We had nothing before that.
You're saying we should have just let everything go on as it was?
Well, why not? What do I have to live for now that I know Kane won't come back? You tell me that, Ed!
This video for now, but I'm hoping I can get some more feedback on you guys when you look up this video and tell me what you think. Basically, this wasn't just made for Dwayne McDuffie. This was made for all those artists out there who, when they passed away, they took what was once brilliant writing, awesome storytelling, and character development that still makes people cry to this very day and turned it into a colossal joke. Oh, Dwayne McDuffie, may you rest in peace. I'll be covering other legendary media artists that tragically passed away and had their works tarnished over the years. This was the one for Dwayne McDuffie. On my next one, I'll be either covering Steven Hillenburg, or I'll be covering the legendary Stan Lee. Until then, good night, folks.